game?
I think it's been around for a little bit.
From Hearthstone, they're telling me. I have played that one.
All right, here we go. So we start
right
with,
off the bat. Bombs in the sanctuary and a heart container in Link's chest.
All right. And looks like Rywek and SirBeater are going for escape. TGH is going to go right to Kakariko. Mystakin is going to the sanctuary right after Link's house.
I see TGH doing a map check there. Not sure if that was by design or just a little accident that happens sometimes.
It could be an accident, especially if you're used to open in standard.
Precisely. Getting that first tier tree pull, it's just a bunch of rupees. And a bomb upgrade on the uncle.
Ooh, red rupees from the crab today.
Oh, that's what I like to see at the start of a race.
And there's
the lamp That's a possible vanilla location, isn't it?
I believe so, actually, yeah. I think vanilla, there's 3 spots can be. So just a bomb upgrade in Aghanim, so we're not going to be seeing that today. We still might, actually.
Oh, we still might. You never know when it's going to end up being an Agaseed anyways. But at this point, it looks like all 4 runners doing a northern entrance to Kakariko. Good thing they got those bombs out of the sanctuary. That'll make that initial walk into town so much less stressful.
Yeah, when you get the bombs, the northern route is a little nicer. If you don't have bombs, the southern can play better because you have a better chance getting bombs that way.
Precisely. And the bug net in the Thieves' Hideout in the woods there.
Ooh,
and it looks like full magic on the tier 2 tree pull. So
that'll be nice to know.
Nice early refill, and yeah, later in the game they could do well with that.
So let's see what we got as we go into Kakariko. We should see them all pretty much take the same route here.
Yeah, I think the only divergence we might see is if we come up a bit short on rupees and we can't go visit that bottle vendor. We'll have to see what the runners try to pull.
Yeah. You can tell the difference between the 2 that grabbed rupees from the crab and the 2 that didn't.
And a small key for Palace of Darkness in the Thieves, or in Blind's basement. Nothing else too interesting just yet. Except for a Skull Woods small key, which, if these runners are as good as I think they are, they won't need in the slightest.
Yep, Skull Woods is one of the few dungeons you can complete without a single small key going in. It's actually also one of the 2 dungeons you complete without the big key.
Alright, and TGH checking the well, gets the half magic right at the start of the game. For a free magic refill for all the runners that don't have it yet.
That's always nice to have, a little safety early.
Yeah. The boots, because you got to go fast in a race. The Hera big key and another heart container. You know, not a terrible start to this race so far.
Not at all. Those boots will speed the seat up quite a bit. Moving on to Chicken Hut, TGH and Mystakin are pretty synced right now.
Yeah, I think, if I read this right, I think Mystakin had to skip the bottle vendor there. He didn't quite have the money.
Yeah, he might have. Good catch. I know Rywek also doesn't have the money. TGH has money for more bombs, though.
Well, yeah, and in Mystakin's case, I think you spend the money on those bombs to make sure you go to South Shore with enough, because we still haven't seen a sword yet. Just more bombs from the back of the bar.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't want to go without bombs early when you don't have another weapon.
And TGH now heading into the library, going to get a bunch of rupees off of the shelf there. One of the nice things you can do when you get boots that early in your game.
Yep, and they'll have some good rupees for a while. It's kind of plays to their advantage because none of them went to the Houlihan room. So none of them are at too much of a disadvantage. I mean, some of them didn't grab the bottle vendor, and that could hurt a little later. But otherwise, actually, it probably won't hurt because I don't know if there was much on the bottle vendor.
Fortunately for everyone that didn't do the bottle vendor, it was just a map to Eastern Palace, and we did see a check. I think it was a non-green pendant, either red or blue.
Okay, so yeah, the only thing that we're missing for now is information.
Meanwhile, at the race game, a small key to Misery Mire. And we're going to see TGH do a save and quit out of there while Mystakin runs it through the overworld. Just one of those spots, like so much of the early game, where saving and quitting to get somewhere is almost always faster than trying to run, even with the boots.
If Mystakin had had the glove, it might have been a little faster, but without it, it was definitely better to save and quit.
So TGH going to check the dam while it looks like Mystakin's headed straight over to Mini Moldorm Cave.
Just a blue boomerang in the well, so let's see what's under it.
Ooh, Mystakin just getting messed around with by those Moldorms. They're not ending up where he needs them.
Oh, just a single rupee in the pond there.
But I don't know if you caught that. Rywek went and checked the bonk rocks before he left the village area. Great play, especially because he just found the Swamp Palace small key.
Oh, that is a very nice play then. It's always a key that control you.
Yeah, fortunately, all these runners with early boots are going to be checking on those bonk rocks pretty early, and Swamp's going to be accessible, I expect, just as soon as we get the mirror and flippers in the Dark World. Mini Moldorm Cave also with the Castle Tower key and the Ice Palace Big Key.
So, I mean, the boots are the biggest thing we've gotten so far. Beyond that, nothing's really pointing us anywhere yet.
No, that's right. We're going to have to see, if Rywek can find something here in Eastern, that could be a boost. Or we might see them have to dip into Castle and take out a bunch of Castle guards with bombs to really find some progression here.
Well, with that one key and the lamp, they can get both chests, but they still do need either two swords or a cape to get in there.
Well, the back of Sahasrala's hat seems to have the value. That was a book and the flute, both very early on. So that opens up a fair amount of stuff for them.
Yeah, those I would almost say that would be pointing to deserts, because you could definitely get at least two chests there now. Though Eastern potentially is still the better play because you could get 6.
Yeah, I think if you're Rywek, you do what he's doing here. You go into Eastern, clean that up because you're in the area, and then pretty soon after that, you go back to Desert, and you hope that somewhere along the way, you can open up more Death Mountain in your play.
Yeah, absolutely. That is another place that is open with the flute is Death Mountain. Though right now you can only get 1 item, 2 if you sequence break. Just a pot small key to start. TGH will get his flute and book here. Where is Mystakin heading?
Looks like he might be headed over to do an early Houlihan play. No, he's going to the eastern part of the world. It is a bit faster to get there if you start at Link's house, but hey, this will get him there.
Yeah, with those boots, you might misjudge timing a little bit. It's not a huge time difference, but every second can count. Rywek making quick work in that skeleton room. There's a little trick to doing that. There's our first bottle.
Oh, and Hasbula telling Mystakin that indeed it's the green pendant in Eastern Palace tonight.
Okay, so vanilla green pendant. SirBeater is gonna fake flipper here.
Yeah, you know, if the Hobo ends up giving him 100 rupees, he can end up doing Zora right after this play.
Yep, you can go to Zora, though without the Moon Pearl, he can't set up the water walk the traditional way. I believe there is a way to do it with the boots, though.
I believe that's correct. I'm not sure if he set that up. Oh, in the current version of the randomizer, you can't set that up without the Moon Pearl. There's a sword for Rywek in Eastern Palace, all the way back at the Vanilla Big Key Chest location.
Okay, 11 minutes in, first sword. That's, I think, a little bit better than the seat we had just before this.
Yeah, I heard the sword there came out pretty darn late.
So Rywek is done in Eastern. He's likely going to head over to Kakariko right now to turn on it, or to activate his flute.
And it looks like SirBeater's also headed to the eastern area, so all four runners are going to be getting their sword fairly early in this seed. TGH entering the dark room. Of course, he's going to have to do this actually in the dark. Both he and Mystakin skip doing the uncle area and don't have that lamp yet.
It's not a huge loss for TGH there. He can do these rooms pretty well. I'm not sure how familiar Mystakin is with them, though.
Yeah, and certainly you want to get through that room on your first pass here. Partly because it's so much of a backtrack if you don't get it, and partly because right now, that's the only sword they have access to.
Yep,
so
exactly.
It looks like SirBeater might have quit out of that dungeon early and didn't end up getting the sword.
And there's our GT Big Key.
Was that from Sick Kid?
That was from Sick Kid.
Sick Kid, you are my favorite person in all of Hyrule right now. Let's keep that early GT Big Key for our runners.
All right. So Rywek is going to be the first to play in the desert here. Well, Mystakin is using his boots to get through the dark room. Not a bad play.
Yeah, in the absence of a sword, those little clouds of dust that you kick up are the next best thing.
So you got 2 places you can check in the desert right now. I would think one would lead to progression. The first place is a key. Which key is it? Hyrule Castle. Well, that's actually not bad, since they don't have the gloves yet. That'll get them access to the back 3 chests.
That it will.
And just some bombs. So my guess is the seed's going to have them go back into Hyrule Castle next to get to that back room.
Yeah, that's a distinct possibility. SirBeater is foregoing those plays and instead has taken up, or fluted up the old mountain and has taken that old man home.
Just the bomb upgrade from the old man. Rywek is going to check Agina here, as TGH and Mystakin both pick up their lamps. And TGH is going to head right into Hyrule Castle.
Yeah, I think now is the best time in the game for doing that. You're right there. You finally have a sword, and there are quite a few chests there, even if you don't have that Hyrule Castle key.
Yeah, the only way, I mean, this is definitely a good play for them as far as they know. The only thing is, if that Hyrule Castle key leads to the next piece of progression, they might have to double dip here.
That's very true. Now look at SirBeater. He's going into the back of Spectacle Rock Cave. I think if I saw correctly, yeah, that's the mirror up there.
All right, so that gives us access to Hera.
That gives us Hera access. That lets SirBeater check on the Ether Tablet. He can't get the item, but he can see what it'll be.
And Rywek is heading straight for the back with.
Yeah, we saw Mystakin go all the way through to there and just found 5 rupees in the midway chest, but he couldn't get to the very back.
TGH found a pod small key in one of the chests, as well as the ice rod. So let's see if this small key is going to pay off for Rywek here, as TGH is going to check Zelda's cell.
And chat making a very good point. Against all odds, we found the Tower of Hera big key very, very early in this race. SirBeater finding a red boomerang on that Ether Tablet.
And that's a Master Sword in Zelda's cell.
Oh, that's a heck of a thing to find right now. But, you know, if SirBeater wants, he can clear out this tower right now. As Rywek finds another sword?
Okay, so we have 3 swords already.
Three swords, and I think that was another Palace of Darkness key in the very back there. So, back of Escape being the place to be.
So, Chet also pointed out something here. SirBeater, while he's going to Hera, he doesn't have a sword or the hammer yet, so he can't clear this.
Oh no, SirBeater! Back to Eastern, please.
Either Eastern or go into at least the escape area.
Or the other part of escape area. There are swords everywhere for you.
So Mystakin will pick up his Master Sword. Looks like, unfortunately, SirBeater's having a little trouble there. He doesn't have much for a weapon right now.
Yeah, you can get through this with some good pot throws. And of course, just fall down and come back up where the pots have respawned. But
he forgot to switch he forgot to hit the switch.
Yeah, it's easy to hit that with a sword, and very easy to just let it slip your mind when you don't have a sword.
I mean, this still could pay out for him if he finds something in here. He's got 2 more chests he can look at.
So TGH getting that Hyrule Castle key. You know, for his sake, it'd be nice if he went back there soon, but ultimately, I don't think we need that Tempered Sword just now.
No, not yet. It'll be nice to have before Ganon, but Master Sword is good enough for right now.
Now, here's where the seed is starting to get a bit strange. We have got 4 Palace of Darkness keys available to our runners. We've got 1 Castle Tower key available. We've also got Master Sword, and we've got Lamp.
We have the 2nd Castle Tower key in Hera.
Oh.
Are we thinking Agassiz at this point?
You know, this is the time when I look at the items I have, and I go, I think the seed is trying to tell me something. It's a lot of work to get up the Castle Tower today, because you have to, you know, both go through the castle basement and go all the way up Hera, but I'm starting to think that's what it has in store.
I'm thinking the same, unless Moldworm has something. I don't know what other plays they've got right now.
I mean, there's always the chance of fake flippering to Zora, but that's not always what you really want to do.
Now, we don't have the Moon Pearl yet, but there's 3 locations it could be. It could be in either the Castle Tower chests, or it could be on the pyramid.
That's exactly right. Now, I wouldn't be surprised to see every runner kind of full clear the world before they end up doing Aga Tower. Just because, you know, if you get to the Dark World and you don't have the Moon Pearl, you can do the Pyramid location, and that's it. So you want to be as sure as possible that you can have the Moon Pearl before you start heading up that tower.
Well, I mean, another thing, we saw that we have 4 Palace of Darkness keys. I think the seed is selling to go through Aga, and then go into Pod.
I'm inclined to agree with you.
Yeah, because I'm just thinking of this. The only other place I can think of is Moldorm. The TGH will get his tempered. And I think his next move is going to be head of the mountain, where Rywek is right now.
No, TGH has just death warped himself. I think he's looking at what he currently has, and he's going to say, hey, I want those first 2 keys out of Castle Tower. Little does he know, because he hasn't been to Hera, that I think the seed's expecting him to go all the way up the tower.
Well, I mean, we'll see. If these 2 chests could just change it all up.
They absolutely could. You know, we could get Hammer and Glove here, and boom, there's your Dark World access. Well, except you need the Moon Pearl.
And we don't have one of the 3, or we don't have any one of the 3 items yet for Dark World access.
Was that Silver's in the first chest of Aga Tower?
That was Silver's.
Oh my goodness. So meanwhile, Rywek's made his way over to Ice Rod Cave. SirBeater's going to go through the sewers and end up getting a sword that way. He did already get one from the very basement of the castle.
There's our Moon Pearl in the second chest of Aga Tower.
Oh no.
I think it's pretty certain now that we're going through Aga. Mordorm is probably the last hope we have to change it.
Well, Mystakin's going to be there soon enough, and we'll see what he manages to do. I'm curious to see his reaction in his position once he opens up this cave. Or this chest, rather.
Well, he'll likely, if he has the sword, he can go clear Moldorm. And then after that, he'll probably decide his next move.
Right.
Yeah, otherwise, SirBeater's checking Agana. TGH is taking the old ban.
I don't think at this point there's likely to be any way around this. Unless Moldorm drops...
Yep, let's see if Moldorm drops something. TGH takes a death, but he got the old man back, so he should be able to start right in front.
This has to be like Hammer or Hookshot for it to be not an Aga Seed. And a heart container is a great thing to have when you're making that 6th-floor climb up Aga Tower, which I think at this point is the only option left.
Unless Zora has something through a sequence break, I think we've got an Aga Seed here.
Oh, TGH sees that mirror. He's using his boots. He's done the hover and actually made up some time on Rywek in this cave. Very nice play from him there.
Absolutely. Yeah, these runners are going every place they could think of to try to avoid that Aga play.
So, you know, one of my favorite things about Keysanity is the way the seeds keep bottlenecking the runners. So you see this huge divergence, and then eventually 10, 15 minutes later, everyone ends up in the same spot, having to do the same thing. And often it comes down to who can route everything best for that bottleneck. So as people make their way up the tower, I'll be really curious to see who's got the lead, because right now, I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. You're right. It's going to be dependent on who goes up there first. Now, SirBeater's heading back into Hyrule Castle. He has to go down and get another sword first before he can go to Aga. But if he goes down to... I forget, did he go to Zelda's chest already?
Yes, he did, and that's why he has a sword. Because he still hasn't been to the very back, because he doesn't have the Hyrule, or he just got his Hyrule Castle key. And he hasn't gotten the sword out of Eastern because he bailed out of there a bit too early.
Yep, but he'll get his Master Sword here as soon as he gets to the back. And Mystakin's heading back to Hyrule Castle. Let's see which way he goes.
Now, I have some good news. Good news for these runners. Yes, it's a forced Aga Seed. That is unfortunate. The good news is, it's less than half an hour in, and 3 of our runners are about to have collected their first crystal. I'd say that's a pretty good start, given how the rest of the seed is looking for them.
Absolutely. Usually a lot of Keysanity seeds, it might take an hour before you get that first crystal. Getting one this early is a nice sight.
And TGH with a very, very quick kill on Moldorm gets that first crystal. At this point, I think he might be our first runner to head all the way up the tower. Rywek's
looks like
not going to be far behind. Oh, he's going for it.
Yeah, I think TGH will be the second one up. It's a little surprising. None of them are going to try to get those rupees for Zora first. I mean, I fully can't blame them. We do have the crab that gives those 20 rupees, which would make it somewhat easy. But I think at this point, even if you go to Zora, there's one item you can get, and that's not enough to get you to Dark World by itself.
No, you'd really have to be hoping that Zora gives you exactly the sequence break you need to be able to avoid a bunch of stuff. And, you know, if that doesn't work out, that's a huge waste of time you're spending when every other runner knows, okay, I just need to go straight to Aga Tower.
And all 4 runners are heading that way right now. I mean, yeah, I think the only thing I could see Zora having that might save them is a hook shot, or I guess the hammer too, because that would give them East Death Mountain access for another 8 chests.
And with that, Rywek has made it up to Aga Tower. All 4 runners now doing this tower together.
This is a nice little bit of a high five here, kind of, for these 4 runners. I think just considering they're all in Aga Tower, this shows how close this race is at this point.
Yeah, the one concern I have for SirBeater here is, of course, he's down a sword from Eastern Palace. He also is going to be the one doing this tower without the Moldorm victory. So he's ahead on that count, but he still has a bit of time to make up on Death Mountain that will probably wait until much later in the seed to see him finish.
Yeah. At least the one thing with Tower of Hera is you can route that in at the end. And just right before you go for Ganon, just quick pop over Light World, kill Moldorm, and then go back. It is unfortunate because he'll have to double dip. But beyond that, it's not too much of a time loss there. Any guesses for blue balls on Aga?
2.
That's pretty nice. My last co-commentator said 10.
Now, I like these runners. They're good people. I just want to point out, SirBeater got into Ganon's tower, or Aghanim's tower, a ways before TGH, and TGH just made up that time. You know, he's one of the top runners of this game in the non-randomized version, and we can really see that come through here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think his his NMG times are like 126, 127. Might even be faster. I don't think I've seen a blue ball yet.
Yes, thank you, TGH. You can play the flute up here. It won't do anything, but you can play it.
Oh, there's a blue ball.
And just as these runners finish up or start their Ego 1 fights, I want to give a big shout out to our trackers tonight. Both Dark Falls and Epic Ranger are there clicking those buttons, keeping that HUD updated. We actually can't do this without them, so big thanks to them for their work here.
Absolutely, they've been doing a great job so far, keeping up to date with all of this that's been going on. Just some rupees on the pyramid. That's definitely going to send them to pod.
Look at this sink. So yeah, amusingly, without the hookshot here, you can't even go across the river. And without the gloves, SirBeater, without the gloves, you can't go up to check the catfish.
Yeah, you don't
the only
think of
thing
these
you can
things.
do here, the only thing you can do here is go to pod.
Yeah, you have no other options. Like, you usually come into Dark World with at least gloves, but without you don't have much you can do. What's SirBeater doing here, though?
He's
gonna
going
get
back
the
for
fairy.
a fairy. 5-heart Dark World with green mail is not the best place to be in, nor is a 6-heart Dark World, which they actually have.
So they have 4 keys. If they hammer jump, I believe they can get everything but the big key chest, since they don't have that. And obviously they can't get the helmet star yet.
That's correct. They also can't do the right side because they don't have a bow.
That is true. They have a
But
small
yes.
shield now.
You're completely correct. And of course, the interesting thing with 4 keys is those 3 chests, 1 in the turtle room and 2 in the U-shaped room right below that. Those are all in the logic, despite being at the back of the dungeon. So I think TGH is playing straight to there as a bit of a priority, because it does feel like if you're going to see progression there, it's going to be in the chests that the game
hovering.
knows you can access. Oh my gosh, more hovering.
Oh, man.
This is not an easy hover, but if you can get across there, you can click through that railing, check your map while you're at it, and get these 2 chests without needing the bow.
Oh. He's not giving up. And he got it, and there's either... What is the other item he's going to get? Just a piece of heart.
Well, you know, that ether medallion before the bow, that could potentially save him a double dip at some other point. That's potentially a really big pickup he just got.
We will have to see if that comes into play. We don't know our medallions yet. Meanwhile, everybody's in pod at this point.
It's a pod party.
It's going to be interesting to see who can hammer jump and who's going to use the key. Oh, and that's a vanilla pod key.
That's a vanilla pod key. That makes 5. And, if they pull off the hammer jump here, that means that's all the keys they need for pod throughout the game.
Mystakin picking up some rupees. Not a bad idea. You don't have much right now, and you still have to pay Zora.
Oh, and there is the, at this point, completely useless Ganon's Tower small key.
So I expect TGH will jump here. I don't know about our other runners, though.
Well, Mystakin's certainly setting up for it, and when you come from above, you get a lot more time than if you come from below, so let's see if he can pull this off. He's in the right area, and with all that pausing going on, he clearly knows where he's supposed to be standing.
We haven't seen that big item yet. I gotta think it's in this dark room over here.
Yeah, that 5th key we saw says to me that, hey, the game wants you to open all of these doors, get all of these
there's
chests.
the hook shot.
Is that in the spike moving room?
Yeah, that was the harmless hellway, I believe.
That's right. But the flipper's in the dark maze as well, so Mystakin and TGH both getting required items. And we'll see what else they can do in here.
So hook shot, most likely next target is going to be Dark Death Mountain, or just Death Mountain. You can't get to Dark Death Mountain yet.
Well, with flippers and hookshot, you can get back to the west side of the Dark World by hookshotting across the river.
That's true as well. Though, did Rywek skip on the flippers?
Oh no, Rywek. Rywek. The flippers were there. The flippers. Rywek. Go back.
That could be a problem, especially if the next piece of progression is locked behind that.
And SirBeater's leaving the dungeon as well. No, go back in, please go back.
So
the flippers.
So this is going to be really interesting. If those flippers lead to something big, TGH and Mystakin have a big lead.
Oh,
if
yeah.
not, then this is still a race.
Well, of course, we haven't yet seen the map check that tells us if Swamp Palace is required. Though Rywek just got the big key for it. But, you know, if Swamp is required, then they need those flippers no matter what.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rywek checking the top of Paradox Cave, gets another heart container, the blue mail, and another heart container, as, TGH takes a death to the giant rolling cabbages. Fortunately, he won't go far.
Yeah. So 3 of our runners chose to go to Death Mountain. Mystakin, though, is choosing to stick to the Dark World for now.
Yeah, he's gone back and forth through these warps a couple of times. I'm not sure if he has remembered that he can hookshot across the river, and that might be his only way to West Dark World. Or maybe he's just doing Zora.
That's a possibility, too. I mean, I don't think we've seen anything on Death Mountain so far, so this could end up being a better play. I think Rywek's a little angry there. He did not get those flippers. He's got to go back into pot at this point.
Yeah, fortunately for him, he kind of missed that location. On the other hand, there's nowhere else for him to go. He has to go back into pod. Though he does have 5 keys, he knows there are more doors to open. As Zora just gives out $20.
Just making an interesting point. 38 minutes in, we have not seen a glove yet. It's very strange to be this far into a seed and not have any gloves. Well, Dead Rocks are not playing nice today.
So SirBeater Still doesn't have those flippers, but is heading north. Looks like he's going to try to lift a rock here and then fail again. Hopefully he heads back to pod. At this rate, I think TGH is going to open this chest, find himself locked out of Death Mountain, and his next play is going to be back into Western Dark World.
And Rywek knows his mistake. He's heading right back there right now. I think he tried to save the key, and unfortunately, the gamble didn't pay off.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, but SirBeater's not head back into pod. SirBeater is going to check on that one chest he missed in Eastern Palace, the one he left behind the Dark Rooms. He's going to get a Tempered Sword.
I mean, Tempered Sword will be nice, but it's not what he was looking for right now.
No, I think he's really looking for the flippers, though he'll come across them soon enough. Meanwhile, Mystakin bought a potion, and is now maybe a bit stumped looking at his map, trying to figure out what his next play could be. TGH is going to be our first player into the Dark World on the west side.
I'm wondering, Mystakin, yeah, I think you brought this up. I wonder if he doesn't know that path to get to the west side of Dark World.
Well, he's headed back into the Dark World, so this could be promising. TGH going to check the King's Tomb on the way by, and there's our first glove 41 minutes into this race.
So, yeah, the first glove locked behind a place you normally expect to use gloves to get to.
Welcome to Randomizer. Enjoy your stay.
Exactly.
Oh, and chat's pointing out that Mystakin doesn't have the hook shot, didn't pick that up. Perhaps, I guess that was in the Harmless Hellway, so he must not have gone through there. TGH finding the mitts next to the gloves?
That is crazy.
What?
I mean, that does prove that Echo was required.
Oh, okay, why not? Oh, I like this play from TGH. He's going over to Catfish, then he can loop in Zora right after. And of course, it doesn't matter that he's going away from West Dark World, because now he's got the mitts he can get back in from the village. But,
yeah. So at this point, TGH is zooming out in front because he's got everything in pod, while our other three runners each gambled and lost because of it.
Yeah, no, Mystakin picked up the small key from the floating island, or just the regular island in Lake Hylia. Small key to Desert Palace, not sure that it's going to give him anything he wants. Just $20 as TGH gets $20 from Catfish.
Now, Rywek with his flippers, it looks like he's catching up a little bit. He's not too far behind TGH.
Yeah, and he has managed to do that same play and get his Titan's mitts pretty early on, considering the hoops they had to leap through so far. Meanwhile, SirBeater still not going back to pod. I do appreciate what he's doing. He got another sword upgrade, and then he remembered, hang on, I never beat Moldor.
Yeah, unfortunately, no, Moldor doesn't have anything, though it is crystal. Yeah, I think SirBeater and Mystakin are a little almost lost at this point.
I think as soon as they head back into pod and really start thoroughly clearing it, using all those keys that they have available to them, they'll come across that fifth key, and they'll open all the doors they can and get that hook shot.
So TGH will likely head back over to... Yep, he's going to head over to the Dark World through Kakariko. Rywek tried to fill his bottle for free, got a B for his efforts. And TGH heading straight back into Skullwoods. So without the fire rod, he can't full clear, but there's, I believe, 5 chests you can get pretty quick here.
Yeah, pretty nice quick chests. Pretty standard play when you first get that access to West Dark World. One thing that a lot of runners will like to do in Keysanity, if they don't come into this dungeon with a key, they'll hold off on opening that one chest that opens all the holes in the floor, and they'll wait to do that until they're heading back through that room to the guaranteed key, just to make running through it a bit easier. Of course, when you come into the dungeon with a small key, you know you don't have to backtrack, and you can just go straight through.
Meanwhile, Mystakin got his hook shot and had some rage slashes. TJH finds a mushroom. He's heading to the back of... He's got one more chest he can get back here.
And Rywek has entered the Misery Mire area. Let's see what the medallion required. Oh, it's Quake. Not Ether, fortunately.
Okay, so no access to Mire yet, though we could still plan for Turtle Rock. Speaking of Turtle Rock, we get our first small key. Yeah, Mystakin's now getting back on track with that hook shot. And is TGH? He's not going to check the pedestal, is he?
He's headed that direction. At this point, I don't know where else he would be going. Chat,
He's
get your
going to give us
pedestal
a ped
hypes in
check.
there. Let's see what we've got today.
A magic cape.
Wear this to become invisible. Is it required? I don't know yet. We haven't seen a bumper cave check.
It's only going to be required if something's in bumper cave.
If something's in bumper cave, or if that Cane of Burna is hiding somewhere super nasty, and they end up needing it for Spike Cave. We have no idea at this point if that cape is going to be required for these runners.
TGH turns in the mushroom, just finds a 20. If I'm TGH, I'd consider checking that bumper cave right now to know if that cape is required or not.
Oh, absolutely. Now, obviously, if it's like the fire rod up there, you know you're going to have to get that. If it's a small key or a big key up there, oh, you're going to put off everything you can until you break down and do the pedestal, just because you can't tell where that key's for.
We're going to find out right now. It's Bombos.
It's Bombos.
So we still don't know.
Oh, no.
So if we need Bombos for Ice Palace, or if Turtle Rock is Bombos, then this is a ped seed.
You know,
we're not going to know for a while.
Chat, you're going to have to wait quite a while to find out whether or not that ped cape is required. And you know, this is one of those times in Keysanity. I just wish we had more maps. I want to know, is Ice Palace actually required? Is Turtle Rock actually required?
So, I think one we will know is this. If Ice Palace is a pendant, then this can't be a pedestal seed.
That's right.
If it's a crystal, it could be. But yeah, we could have a seed here that's both Aga required and pedestal required.
I don't mean to distract from our great analysis about that, but Mystakin just went into the Vulnerable Hut and did find the Cane of Samaria.
That's pushing us closer to Turtle Rock, potentially, but we're still far away from that.
We really are. And there's
And
Rywek.
He's going to find out the pedestal. Now, we don't have the big key for Thieves Town, so they can only get these first 4 chests. And Mystakin's going to take the blacksmith back right away.
You know, I like this idea. You know that you're probably not going to be able to beat Thieves Town until you get that big key. And there's a bunch of other quick checks right nearby. Take care of those if you can. Put off Thieves Town just a little bit, and if you're very lucky, maybe you'll pull that Thieves Town big key.
SirBeater is finally going to get back on track. He'll get his flippers here in just a minute. I'm sure he'll have some opinions on that flipper chest. Dig game. Let's see how many digs today. And just another 20.
Given how many 20s came out of there, not worth picking up.
Nope, it's 3 seconds you don't want to use.
So Mystakin has that purple chest. He's going to give us a nice tour of South Dark World, probably ending in a check of either ending in a check of Bombos tablet, but maybe right after that, headed into Swamp Palace.
That's interesting, but well, no, you can't get far in Swamp Palace. You can only get 2 chests right now.
Oh, that's right. No hammer yet for these runners.
Now, of course, we could be cruel and put the hammer there, but let's not think that way.
Let's be nice. I like these runners, and they've been through a lot already.
Absolutely. We don't want to see them have to do anything more. Did Rywek not check the lumberjack?
Apparently not. It's it's a pretty common thing to just not worry about checking at the start. No, SirBeater, you can't go to Catfish right now. You don't have the glove yet. Rywek, skipped out on checking that because without boots you can't get in there anyways, so hold off on checking that till it's available.
Very true. Mystakin's going to check the Bombos tablet here. He gets a rupee hoard. Yeah, right now we're kind of, again, back in a holding pattern, waiting for that next big item.
Well, since our runners went up to Death Mountain and used the hookshot to get over there, in the time since then, they picked up the Titan Spin. And I'm starting to think Dark Death Mountain is gotta have something for our runners, unless Mystakin's Hype Cave right here has something.
Let's see.
Money, bomb upgrade, money, Quake.
Quake. That's Mire access. And with that Kena Samarian lamp, they can full clear Mire.
Yeah, we saw that big key for Mire much earlier. So that is completely on the table, and, I'd say that's the immediate thing you want to do here.
And Ice Palace is a crystal along with Skull Woods.
Fascinating. Chat, I'll defer to you on this. Give me your rampant speculation about what that means for Bombos that's up on Bumper Cave.
And is Mystakin going to do a Swamp Palace check?
He's right here, and chat's pointing out he didn't fly into the Mire area yet, so he doesn't know what Quake's good for. When you're in the area, checking it isn't the worst thing.
TGH is going to do his Hype Cave. Rywek's going through the front of Thieves Town. I'm interested to see where TGH heads from here. Map.
Oh, Mystakin finding the map of Skull Woods, which he just identified.
I think TGH can go pick up that small key from the island. And there's the big key to pod, so the little value, if that key ends up being for something big, that could yield some results.
Yeah, right now it only opens up the big chest. The chest that has hammer in vanilla. I don't want to say it's great for Mystakin, but it certainly can't hurt to have that at this point. He's going to give us a play to East Dark Death Mountain, though.
All right, this could be a big moment here.
Meanwhile, TGH is going to check on Hobo, which he hasn't had a chance to do until now. Be curious to see where he goes now that he's got Quake.
Where? Oh no, actually, Mystakin hasn't been to this side of Death Mountain yet. So yeah, he's gonna do the light side, but he can go straight to the dark side after he's done here. And yeah, TGH is gonna go over to Mire. He's gonna see that medallion. I gotta believe he's gonna go into Mire.
Now, certainly when you can full clear that dungeon, and when that dungeon specifically has 8 chests in it, I think there's no question you go and you do that right now. I mean, maybe you use your Desert Small Key first, but you don't leave this area without doing Misery Mire.
Yeah, it looks like that's what TGH is going to do. Is he's going to use that Desert Small Key first. I think SirBeater is still a little lost.
He does not have any glove upgrades at the moment, so that means he missed doing both Sanctuary, or Graveyard Ledge rather, and King's Tomb, both of which are really important at this point because it'll take him straight to Titan's Man.
Alright, Mystakin is going through the Super Bunny Cave right now.
And Rywek's making his way through South Dark World, about to get that Quake. He does know that Quake is required from Mire.
We got a big key to Turtle Rock and 50s. Alright, Mystakin's coming out. Will he go check Turtle Rock?
I hope he does. He's going to show us Hookshot Cave first, though. I don't think he's done a pedestal check. He's not aware of how much all of us at home are waiting to see what's required for Turtle Rock.
There's the map of Turtle Rock. Alright, nothing too exciting in there. And he's gonna go to the ledge.
Yeah, I didn't catch what was on there if a runner checked it earlier.
I'll have to see if he sees anything interesting here.
And SirBeater has hookshotted across that river, has access to the east side of Dark World, and as long as he can navigate this little maze in the graveyard area, should be able to get his lift upgrades.
And that's our 6th pod key. All right, here's the moment. It's Ether. So Pedream is not dead yet, but it would require Ice Palace to be cleared with Bombos.
That's correct. We'll probably see the runners check the rest of the game trying to find Fire Rod before they go into Ice Palace.
So meanwhile, TGH is going through Mire. Rywek's going to follow him in.
And SirBeater's got one of his lift upgrades so far. In just a few seconds, he's going to get that second one. And chat... Oh, go ahead.
With no fire rod here, he has to do it the long way.
And chat is correctly pointing out that, TGH did that hover earlier, picked up Ether over in Palace of Darkness. If they need to do an early dip into Turtle Rock for something, or it just helps with their routing, then TGH is going to get a big boost from doing that because he didn't have to backtrack with the bow just to open one dungeon.
That's very true. As of right now, though, Turtle Rock's... I mean, you have access to Turtle Rock with the cane, but you only got one small key at this point, so you can't get far.
That's right, and you know what? Without the fire rod, 2 chests in the first area are completely locked off to you.
So the only other thing that we might be able to find out soon... Well, there's Hammer.
There's Hammer.
So once TGH picks up the rest of the runners pick up the pod big key, they can they can finish pod off. And it looks like Mystakin is also going to make the same play going to Mire here.
Yeah, you can finish pod off, well, to an extent. We still need to see that bow come out somewhere.
Oh yeah, that's right. You need the bow.
Right side is locked, and you can't get to Helmistorg because you can't shoot that statue. But hey, Buttersword and Misery Mire.
Well, there's not going to be any problems with killing anything in this seed. We have all 4 swords within a little over an hour.
All 4 swords already have the silver arrows, just need the bow to actually fire them.
So, thinking about that right now, what do we still need for item go mode? I think we need the bow. I think that's the only item we don't know where it is that they need for item go mode, at least.
We absolutely need the fire rod, no matter what. Not just because of Ice Palace, but for Skullwoods, because that's a red crystal.
Of course, yes, we do need the fire rod. And that fire rod is going to determine a lot in this race at this point. Yeah, something I was going to mention before. We do have the map for Turtle Rock. If Turtle Rock happens to be a pendant, then we also know that this is not a pedestal seed. I think I might be wrong on that, actually.
Well, Turtle Rock is Ether Medallion, so they have access to it regardless. Oh, look at that Vitreous fight from TGH. Just cleans up, easy with the gold sword. There's the fire rod.
I think that kills the pedestal.
That, I'm sorry, chat, has effectively killed your hopes and dreams of a pedestal seed tonight. Now, if these runners want, heck, they can just go to crystals 5 and 6.
And that's got to be a big weight off of TGH's mind there, knowing that he does not need Bombos in any way.
Oh yeah, that's a lot of certainty for him.
So yeah, at this point now, we just need the bow to get all the items we need.
That's right. We are still, though, missing a number of big keys. We also are missing the information to tell us exactly which big keys we need to finish this game. Do we need Thieves Town? Turtle Rock? Pod? I don't know.
So far, we haven't seen much from maps, and even with the maps we've gotten, I don't think the runners have checked the maps very much.
No, they really haven't.
So Rywek and Mystakin have both grabbed their hammers, and now TGH is going to go into Swamp, which makes perfect sense. He has the ability to full clear it. So you can full clear Swamp, you can full clear Skull Woods, you can full clear Ice Palace.
Yeah, I think at this point it's, take your pick. And TGH seems to be going with the pick of there are 10 chests in Swamp Palace. I want that one. Rywek's fighting Vitreous, but is down to just half a heart.
Oh, it drops a heart, but that doesn't help much in this fight because I think you take at least a couple hearts per hit.
Yeah, this is a bit risky, but there we go. Rywek's cleaned that up. Meanwhile, TGH, of course, in Swamp Palace has found his big key for Pod.
Chet did point out something cruel that could happen in this seed. If Pod happens to be a pendant, Bo could be in GT.
That's correct. It would require Turtle Rock to also be a pendant because, according to the logic, Bo's required for Ether to get into Turtle Rock, but that is still on the radar and now has me a bit worried.
Well, with 3 dungeons having to be required pendants for it, it's pretty unlikely, but it would still be possible.
Meanwhile, Mystakin in the Vitreous fight, also down to half a heart, dodging those lightning beams. Looks like he's going to be able to make it out, but I was worried for a second there.
Just has to be careful in these last few hits.
And there we go.
He's got Vitreous down too. TGH's going to full clear Swamp, which is a good move here. In Keysanity, it's almost always a good move to full clear Swamp.
Yeah, when your alternative is, hey, let me leave 2 chests on the left side that take way too long to go pick up, I'm going to full clear it while I'm in that dungeon. Meanwhile, SirBeater has picked up that purple chest. Going to be doing the South Dark World tour. He does have a fair amount of time left to make up. Turtle Rock is a crystal. When we get a map check from Mystakin there. But, SirBeater's got his work cut out for him, as his opponent, Mystakin, is pretty much a whole dungeon ahead at this point.
Still more than enough time to catch up, but he does need to make some hit plays here soon. We got a pod map, and we have a key to GT. I think that's our last GT key. Or do we still have one more out there?
There are 4 in total available. I'm not sure if that's the last one or not. Regardless, it's certainly not one they're going to be needing. As we pointed out, having Turtle Rock as a crystal means Bo's going to definitely show up before you have to enter Turtle Rock, and therefore before you have to enter Ganon's Tower.
And there's another fetch quest with the shovel. Now, this actually makes an interesting point, too. we'll have to find out what pod is. But that's sequence break for TGH. Since he already has ether, we gotta hope he finds that bow.
Meanwhile, Mystakin, up in the Skull Woods area, has decided the first thing he wants to do with the spoils is, from Misery Mire, is head into Skull Woods and clear that out. Not a bad play.
No, not at all. I mean, it's Mafia could be pretty quick, especially with Gold Sword. Though actually, due to a bug in the game, Gold and Tempered do the same damage to Mafia.
And Rywek's gone into Ice Palace, so 3 runners going in very different directions here. Each taking on a dungeon that, as you pointed out earlier, they can full clear.
Yeah, I can't disagree with any of these decisions. All of them are good because you're getting progression to a crystal dungeon. Actually, we don't know if Swamp's a crystal yet.
That's right. I think TGH just picked up the map for Swamp, but since he's in Swamp Palace, he can't check it until he's cleared it out.
And he gets the quick cycle there.
Very nice shots with the Fire Rod.
And it's
That's
a pendant.
just a pendant.
Now, since the map is in Swamp Palace, that means the other runners won't know unless they get enough information from other maps to deduce that it's a pendant.
That's right.
And he picks up the single rupee?
Look, you never know when you're going to need 1 rupee. Almost certainly, never. But you never know.
I guess so.
But I mean, almost certainly never.
And Mystakin clears Mothula. Heart piece just in the dig spot.
Yeah, so TGH might have just lost a lot of time in Swamp. At this point, the hope for him, I think, is that other runners are not going to realize it's a pendant and are going to do other stuff first.
TGH is heading up towards Dark Death Mountain. He might choose to dip in Turtle Rock here, but since he only has 1 key, he wouldn't be able to get far.
That's right. I mean, he may get he may decide not to go in there too far or at all because he knows it's sequence break territory. But, there's nothing wrong with sequence breaking, especially with the switchbacks Keysanity puts you through, as long as you can keep track of what you've sequence broken.
Another runner finds a bottle in Ice Palace. He's going to open it. Doesn't necessarily mean he's going to go in yet. SirBeater's going to head to the Mire area. Has he been to Hype Cave? I don't see Quake on his tracker yet.
Well, he was carrying the purple chest earlier, and he's got Quake available on his screen. So,
he does.
Yes, he's been to Hype Cave at some point.
Rywek got the big chest, but I don't know what he got.
Yeah, right above that room, there was a small key for Turtle Rock in Ice Palace. So that makes for a second small key that these runners have available to them at this point.
You need at least 3 to clear Turtle Rock. But with 2, you can get to Laser Bridge if you want to.
right. With 2, you can get the laser bridge. And of course, 2 of our runners now, in fact, 3 of our runners now, have that big key for Turtle Rock. And so not only can you do laser bridge, you can do the big chest. TGH is doing Spike Cave?
Sorry to interrupt. Rywek just found the bow and ice.
Oh, that's huge.
So that's the last item we need for item go mode at this point. We still are looking for some keys, though.
Half a heart left. TGH gets through Spike Cave.
And he got a heart refill.
Piece. Was that his 4th heart? I think so.
Yep, he got a heart refill. I heard it before he reset.
Wow, he just makes it through. I'm sure he wanted to get that cleared out to be absolutely sure he didn't need the cape for anything. And we've confirmed that now.
Rywek's taking on Cold Stare. Butters. Oh, he's got to be careful. Oh, I think he's got a fairy.
I believe he does. I think he picked one up in the vanilla big key chest in this dungeon.
He does, okay. Gotta be somewhat careful.
And TGH does a map check, shows us that Palace of Darkness is a crystal today.
And Rywek does get through Cold Stare, gets his third crystal, actually. So that means we have a 50-50 shot between Desert and Thieves Town on which one's a crystal, which one's a pendant.
That's right, that is all that's left unknown at this point.
So with that, I think Rywek might be heading to Swamp?
Yeah, it looks like it, and that'll actually turn out way better than we initially said when TGH went and finished Swamp, because Rywek needs to go into Swamp to get that pod big key.
No,
but
he's not
going there. Did he beat Mothula earlier? I think he did.
I don't
He's going to the bomb shop.
No, he's just checking.
Okay.
Now he's heading back down. I think he is gonna make looks like he's gonna make the swamp play. Yeah, he's pulling out his mirror. He's going for swamp. This is, I mean, it's a little surprising because you know that Skullwoods is a crystal. I mean, you do have 10 chests here, so you could find something here versus Skullwoods, which you've got maybe 2 chests left.
That's right, 2 chests left. Although, he did just find out it unlocks the Pyramid Fairy.
TJ's going to do a bomb jump here. This will get him to the iced tea room quicker, and he'll find his bow.
Yeah, really quick piece of routing here that I quite like to see. Although I think he still has to do the upper right side of this dungeon.
So, for him to hit go mode, he still needs 2 more Turtle Rock keys, one of which we know is in here. He'll need a big key for either Desert or Thieves Town. We don't know which one yet. And I think that's all he needs for keys. Because you can do Skull Woods without the big key. You can do Ice Palace the rest of the way here now.
That's right. So all in all, not too much left for these runners to find, and we're only an hour and 20 minutes into this seed. Not a terribly slow one from them, although obviously not the fastest possible, especially with that forced play up Aga Tower we had earlier. SirBeater taking the death on Vitreous. Fortunately, it was only a fall, not a death. He's got that fairy.
Still got to be careful here. Those eyeballs hurt. Oh, he's down to 1 heart. He's going to use his blue potion, though.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is why we go and pick up potions.
The TGH will be finishing ice here shortly. Same with Mystakin. SirBeater gets his second crystal. So at this point, I'd expect the runners to just keep going through dungeons they know.
Yeah. Well, so in TGH and Rywek's position, they've got the bow, they've got the pod big key. They're in a position to go and clear out pod fully. TGH, only has 5 keys, but hammer yumped, so he doesn't need that 6th one.
Yeah, unfortunately, Mystakin, while he does have the bow and big key, I think he needs the 6th pod key to get through it.
Yeah, I don't think he pulled off the hammer yump earlier.
So at this point, we've got Mystakin with 4 crystals, TGH with 3, Rywek with 3, and SirBeater with 2. Looks like TGH most likely is going to head into Skull Woods here, finish that up.
And SirBeater, now having cleared out Misery and Mire, and at that 3 dungeons open position we talked about earlier for the other runners, looks like he's going to head straight into Swamp Palace. He's going to find...
Wait, he might be going for the bomb.
He might be, except he's headed south. And also, when you haven't picked up or completed Skull Woods and Ice, you can't quite do that bomb just yet.
Oh, sorry, no. I think Mystakin's going for the bomb, not TGH.
Oh, Mystakin is in fact going for the bomb. You're right. TGH doing hammer pegs and finding nothing of value in that cave.
A quick check. I can't blame him for doing that. Mystakin taking the quick route since he killed Aga. One of the few advantages to killing Aga.
Yeah, you can drop off the bomb faster, and well, it'll get you through this seed at least.
Unfortunately, just 2 20s.
$40.
So TGH is going to go finish off Mothula here. He'll get his 4th crystal. Mystakin? Looks like he's heading back into pod.
Yeah. We'll see what he does with that right side. He hasn't been back up Dark Death Mountain yet, so didn't get that small key from the back of Hookshot Cave. He could either just say... well, I guess he can't go all the way to Helmasaur if he's out of keys. His only option is going to be to check that big chest.
Well, he does have a key.
I guess he pulled off the hammer yump or skipped another unimportant chest. Either way, that's great news for him. He's going to be the first one to finish this dungeon.
So TGH taking on Mothula here. Mystakin heading back to, most likely will head back to Helmstar King. And Rywek and SirBeater are both working through Swamp right now.
And Mystakin. Oh, go ahead.
TGH will get his 4th key, or crystal.
Yeah, and Mystakin, now with legitimate non-hovering access to the right side of Pod, is able to pick up that Ether Medallion that TGH has had for a while, and gives them access into Turtle Rock. You know, at this point I start to wonder, is there a 3rd Turtle Rock key inside Turtle Rock somewhere?
I would start to think that too. I've noticed in my playing of Keysanity that Turtle Rock, maybe half the time, has a vanilla key in it. So going up to Turtle Rock after this might be a good play.
I mean, if you're interested in clearing out dungeons, which, you know, you have to do to get crystals, I think Turtle Rock is the only one left for our runners once they finish up with Pod here.
Now, in Mystakin's case, I don't think he's been in Swamp yet. So he might elect to do that instead.
Oh, that's right. He did the first 2 chests of Swamp. That's how he got his big key here. But he didn't go further in at the time because he didn't have the hammer.
So that is open to him as another option. But he's going to head back to Helmstar first and finish that off. As TGH works his way back, Rywek picks up his pendant. And Mystakin electing to go with a silver arrow shot here.
Ooh, just missing 2 of them.
With Gold Sword, it's 2 swipes, but silver arrows work just as well.
We have a small key to Turtle Rock. Well,
so
I think that's got to be the play.
Yeah, I think at this point with 3 keys, you go to Turtle Rock.
Three keys, Fire Rod, Ice Rod, the big key, Cane of Samaria. You can clear that out for everything except the big chest. Or the big key chest. Heck, if you want, you can do Mimic Cave along the way, and I think you probably do want to do that.
But it looks like Mystakin might be going to Swamp.
Oh no, no, Mystakin. Don't go there, please.
I mean, in his defense, it's 8 chests. It's a little easier, but I mean, you know Turtle Rock's a crystal.
That's the thing. You know Turtle Rock's a crystal. You're still not sure about Swamp because that Swamp map is inside Swamp.
Yeah, I mean, we know this is not. He's not going to find anything here, but I mean, if you're a little nervous about Turtle Rock, you might try to put it off as long as you can.
Yeah, if you're a bit worried about that vanilla big key chest having something good, if you're worried you might need that 4th key, I can see why you clear out Swamp ahead of time, hoping that you find that.
So, TGH finishes Helmstar. I gotta imagine he's heading straight to Turtle Rock after this.
Oh, absolutely, I think you do. I would not be surprised to see him go through Turtle Rock and find big keys for both Desert and Thieves Town here.
No, he's heading to 4.
Pyramid
he's
Fairy.
gonna do. Yeah, he's gonna do Fairy as well.
So if you're just joining us, a reminder that these are 2 separate races going on today. Rywek and TGH are facing off against each other, and SirBeater and Mystakin are facing off against each other. Each pair of racers at a record of 1-0 in the tournament so far, and so the winner from the top and the winner from the bottom going to be advancing to having a 2-0 record in the tournament.
That's right. And as of right now, TGH and Mystakin are in the lead. Rywek and SirBeater have to make up some ground here soon.
That's right. Rywek putting up a very good fight. Pretty close to the others in his completion of stuff. SirBeater, unfortunately, a bit behind as it took him a while to get across the river into the west part of Dark World.
Yeah, unfortunately, SirBeater gambling that chest and pod and then taking a while to get across has cost him a lot of time.
But hey, this is Keysanity. It is not over until it is over. Which I know is technically a truism, or tautology, one of the two. But also still relevant here.
Very true. Very true. Okay, Rywek just finished Skullwood. SirBeater is going to head back to Skullwoods. And TGH is getting hassled by the Dead Rocks.
Somewhere out there, probably in Japan, there is someone who coded those Dead Rocks and decided, yes, I want to put those enemies into this game. Someday I want to meet that person. I have some very strong words for them.
I think a lot of people do. So I'm going to be very interested to see what TGH finds in Turtle Rock here.
I think we'll see 2 big keys and probably a small key for Turtle Rock as well. Maybe that's too optimistic.
Now, the one place I still could see trolling these runners a little bit is Eastern Palace. Because you still got 2 items out there. And I don't think any of these runners really want to go back there.
That's right, they went through it pretty early, they got that sword, and then they've been able to put it out of their mind, but when that big key shows up, it could be where they're actually expected to go. As SirBeater takes down Mothula in a really quick fight, getting those 4 slashes, that's a crystal for him, which brings his total to 3.
Unfortunately, he's still behind Mystakin's 5, but there's still time. The Fire Rod teaches to be able to get through this really quickly.
And Mystakin's floated up to number 1, so he's going to be headed into Turtle Rock as well.
Yep. This definitely appears to be the right case. Oh, the Hera small key.
Well, at least it's nearby.
You never like to see that after you've cleared Hera. Yeah, it is nearby. If you want to make the check, the best time to do is going to be right after Turtle Rock. Here's everybody's favorite room, the Chain Chomp room.
And the blue cane.
Are the Chain Chomps another creation that you want to meet the creator of?
No, the Chain Chomps are actually fascinating, and they're one of my favorite enemies in the game because they'll sit still for a while and then they'll move. But the interval they move at is long but random. But it's different, a different random for each chomp, and the randomness changes as you stay in the room. So as long as you're quick through that room, it doesn't give you problems. It's just a question of can you get out of there before they start alternating their attack times. Because once they're attacking back and forth, then you're really in trouble.
TJ makes a nice move there and slightly picks up that key. If he had gotten a little close to that door, he might have accidentally used a key there.
Oh, I've seen runners do that accidental door opening. It is the worst feeling in your stomach.
I've had that feeling myself, and it sucks so much. So SirBeater's getting through Ice Palace. He'll find his bow here. Rywek's going to go back through and finish up Pod.
Now, we didn't see anyone take the time to go check the big chested pod, did we?
No, we did not. Both runners elected to skip it. Between TGH and Mystakin.
Yeah, and for now, Rywek looks to be doing the same thing.
Got a rupee horde in the Mimic Cave.
And SirBeater's making his way through Ice Palace. So by the time he's done here, assuming he does that full clear that I expect from him, he's going to be up the bow, and he's going to have his second key for Turtle Rock. If he goes straight to Palace Darkness, he could be making up a bit of time here.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, both TGH Mystakin continue through Turtle Rock. I don't think they've... Beyond the Cane of Burnout, they haven't found much in here so far. Right now, they need another big key to something. And we're getting close to the point where it's just single locations left to check.
Yeah, I'm kind of at a loss to think of overworld locations that no runner has checked. I mean, we've even seen Spike Cave, we've seen Peg Cave. There's a map.
There's the map for Desert. So as soon as he leaves, and there's a vanilla Turtle Rock key.
Of course.
We also got the Mire shield. And a useless key to Ice Palace.
You know, I think that key by the logic was really required. And the idea was something along the lines of you're supposed to get the bow from Ice to get into T-Rock via Ether so that you can get all the keys you need for Ice and go back later to clear it. Fortunately, our runners are a bit better than the logic anticipates is the stupidest they could be, because the logic accounts for being super dumb. Our runners are able to beat that and, sneak by some of those zigzags the logic allows for.
Yeah. TGH making fast work with Trinex. So what I want to wonder is, after TGH is done here, does he go back in and look at that chest he skipped?
Absolutely you do, I think. You don't want to be leaving that stuff behind, and besides, he hasn't gotten another big key out of this dungeon. Just a bottle from beating Trinex.
So yeah, at this point, it's the search for your next big key. Now, he did get the desert map, so he'll be able to find out what his last crystal is.
Looks like Mystakin
So
also
once-
stole that key.
Yeah, he's going to go back in and check that chest.
I guess if you're not going through the dungeon to get that one chest, you do have another option. You can go to the basement of the Tower of Hera and try there. At this point, you might as well just do the big key chest in Turtle Rock.
Yeah. Let's get it out of the way right now, because you don't want to come back up to Turtle Rock if you don't have to. SirBeater gets his Ice Palace crystal. That puts him up to 4. As Rywek just starts his descent into Turtle Rock. Yeah, I mean, at this point in the scene, we are just waiting for that big key.
Oh, and look what Mystakin's done here. He's mirrored out.
Oh, and there's the big key to Desert.
Oh, there you are.
That was a good move by Mystakin, too. when he got that key mirroring back, so he can go get that chest quick.
I'm not actually sure which is faster, but intuitively this feels, if not faster, at least clever.
Well, and we just saw Desert is the last crystal.
So does that mean TGH has entered, JP, what's that called?
I believe it's called Go Mode.
Go Mode? Oh, okay. That sounds fun.
I think it's the point where you can just rush through the rest of the seed.
That's a pretty attractive mode to be in. TGH forgetting for a second that he's in it as he starts heading into the front half of Desert and then realizes, no, I'm in Go Mode. I have to keep running.
Yep, so yeah, Land Mola here will be pretty quick, getting it straight up to GT, which he already has the big key for.
So at this point, this is going to be TGH's race to lose, with Mystakin also in a pretty commanding lead because, he's picked up that key as well. He knows that Desert is going to be the next play. And as soon as he's out of this dungeon, he'll say, hang on, Desert's my last dungeon I need.
Yeah, at this point, Rywek and SirBeater need their opponents to make a big mistake if they want to catch up.
Yeah, and based on what I've seen from TGH and Mystakin so far in this race, especially when they're now at blue mail and about 17 hearts, we're not going to see any mistakes. Look at that one cycle Landmo fight from TGH with the silvers. There's a small key for GT, which I think is the seed telling them, hey, go to Ganon's tower. Go for it.
Yep. And that is SirBeater making the climb up to GT, or not GT, but Turtle Rock now?
He's headed in that area. It's also worth pointing out, I'm not sure if he spent all his keys in Palace of Darkness or not. He hasn't picked up that 6th key from the island, so, without Ether, he can't get into Turtle Rock just yet.
Very true. Yeah, I don't think he hasn't been up here yet, so he's just making his normal checks.
And Mystakin's going to enter that Trinex fight with half magic, butter sword, 15 hearts remaining. This is going to be a walk in the park.
Oh man, this is... Trinex can be one of the easiest bosses in the game once you know how to fight him.
That's right. Before I started speedrunning Zelda, I thought Trinex was just impossible because he took so many hits to kill and you couldn't switch your items. When his head were exploding, I didn't understand why. Once you figure out the trick, he goes down quickly.
And TGH is going to head into GT, and, well, we have no game to play because he's already got that key.
There are 22 chests in the basement of Ganon's tower that are accessible without the big key. Do not guess any of them at this point, because we saw the big key at Sick Kid from that first bottle they dropped not too long ago. And the only reason I say that is because we're an hour and 43 minutes in. TGH has entered Ganon's tower. We might be seeing a sub 150 time in this Keysanity race.
Now, one thing to also note, SirBeater hasn't actually gone and picked up that GT key yet.
No, that's right. I'm not sure if he can see it or not because he's fluting away from the island. Oh, his key counter is at 6. I think he might have just picked it up.
Yep, he can go finish pod now. And meanwhile, Mystakin is going to head in and do his Land Mola fight. He'll get his 7th crystal.
Ooh, TGH falling off the cannon bridge, but using that nice trick where if you dash across that bridge, you can use your iframes and nothing will hit you on your second try.
Oh, Rywek's got to be careful.
Oh, Rywek, take it easy. Take it easy. You can do it. Putting that Cane of Burna that he just picked up a couple rooms ago to good use.
Oh, he hit that center door, which we know is the right play, but... Oh, he's already been to this laser bridge. Never mind.
Oh, and now taking the death, he can get... Oh, I thought that was a death ward, but that's just a fair use.
Well, TGH is just making quick work of the gauntlet. If you look away for a second, he's cleared a floor.
But what? How did TGH get this far in the gauntlet so far? I looked at the other runners' screens. Who let that happen?
Like, a runner like TGH, if you look away for a second, you've probably missed something.
Absolutely you have. But that's not to detract from Mystakin, who has floated to 1 and is headed up to Ganon's tower with his 7 crystals. Rywek, meanwhile, making his way down to the final Trinex fight. He's got the keys for it, and he's got his next key for Desert. And SirBeater's using that shovel to go get what we know is a heart piece from the Haunted Grove area.
Little trick at those dead rocks. If you use the hook shot and you hit them twice in rapid succession, you can move them back before they actually freeze in place.
See, that makes no sense. I have even more words for the guy who coded this.
And TGH is going for the swag.
Very nicely done. What Moldorm too?
Unfortunately, he also triggers a little glitch that happens when you hover like that.
Bump, 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 bump.
Starts with a double as Rywek enters his Trinex fight. Not sure. I think that was another double. Yep, 3 doubles.
I just want to point out, Rywek has run an incredible race here. It doesn't look like he's going to win his side of the race at this point, but his execution has been pretty good. His routing's been fairly strong. He's just kind of up against some really tough people tonight, and he's really pulled out all the stops.
Yeah, I mean, TGH Rywek, it's been a great matchup. It's just TGH has just done everything right, basically. Unfortunately, Rywek fell up behind when he gambled that Justin pod, and he just hasn't been able to recover from that. Meanwhile,
so of course. Go ahead.
TGH is just making quick work through Ganon.
Yeah, not that I think any of our runners would have any trouble tonight if they didn't have Butter Sword, but it just makes it that much faster. 6 hits per phase on Ganon. TGH is already into phase 3.
And Ganon is going warp crazy.
I think TGH is going to have some strong words for Ganon at this point.
And here, TGH is moving on to the last phase.
Oh, look at that turn he did with that arrow there to get off a double hit and still get the torch glitch. That is execution, as that's 3 hits. This is 4 hits. TGH is going to win this race with a very fast Ganon fight.
That was just impressive to watch.
if you want to see how to do Ganon, just watch that over and over again. And TGH is going to take first of all these 4 runners, and more importantly, in his race, with an official time of 1 hour, 49 minutes, and 32 seconds. GG and congratulations to him. What a performance to put on. Sub 2 is often a great time in Keysanity. So pulling off a sub 150, that is something else.
Yeah, absolutely. That was just an incredible run there. Meanwhile, Mystakin is working through the gauntlets. Rywek is on Moldorm, or is Land Mola right now, finishing that up.
And SirBeater now up to Turtle Rock, heading through that change romp room, getting his Cane of Burna. You know, he is now on the clear path to finishing the seed. Not going to win at this point, but, you know, still going to come away with a very respectable time from this.
Absolutely. He probably won't get sub 2, but easily sub 215. Most likely better.
And we're going to see here if TGH wants to come in for an interview. Not quite sure yet how he'll respond to that.
So, I mean, just to remind everybody, like when we went into Aghanim's Tower about half hour in, this race was virtually tied. Like everybody was in Aghanim's Tower at the exact same time. And since then, this is just how things have diverged.
Yeah, I mean, everyone ended up clearing pretty much every dungeon except Eastern and Thieves Town. And by pretty much, I mean exactly every dungeon but Eastern and Thieves Town. But the order they did them in, the time saves they were able to make along the way, and just some of the crazy overworld stuff they ended up doing really caused some divergence tonight.
So Mystakin finishes Moldorm 2. He is heading up to the last room, and he'll be on his Agate 2 fight in just a minute.
As Rywek enters Ganon's Tower.
Mystakin's making pretty good work of Agate 2 here. Ooh, that blue ball gets him.
Very nice end to that fight, though. Well done. And Mystakin's on a solid track to getting a sub 2 hour time in this race. Again, great work.
So we got Mystakin about to drop in on Ganon. Rywek continues his climb up GT.
Alright, and we are going to drag TGH in here for a few words as we watch Mystakin finish up this game. We are joined by TGH. TGH, congratulations and GG. What a time. Sub 150 in a Keysanity race.
Thanks. I feel like for the most part I made the right plays. There were a couple of things that looking back on might have been, better, but...
Anything in particular come to mind, or just probably something?
I don't know. Well, it was kind of since every freaking map in the game was in swamp, I didn't really know what was a crystal, what was a pendant. The whole entire time, knowing that Bombos was locked behind the pedestal and all the pendant dungeons. Having not known, it was kind of a mix between wanting to be efficient and wanting to be, wanting to like I treated it like an all dungeon seed until I found out that T-Rock was Ether, which is why I did Swamp before Ice. I didn't really care what was a pendant or crystal at that point. I just wanted to get as many items as I could, like in the shortest amount of time. So I went to Swamp instead of Ice.
Interesting play. I'll just point out at this time, Mystakin is the second one to finish this race. Not your opponent, of course. He's the one on the other race, but he's taken out Ganon. And he's going to finish with an official time of 1 hour, 55 minutes, 15 seconds. Great job to him. So, TGH, there was a point when we saw you, I think it was your first trip to Dark World Death Mountain, you ran over to Spike Cave, and you tanked through that, even though you didn't have Burnout or Cape.
Yep.
Was that just to make sure that you weren't going to have to touch the pedestal?
I'm not sure what one has to do with the other, but
well,
yeah, the Spike Cave play was just to
base.
Say that again. Sorry.
Cape would normally be required for Spike Cave.
Yeah. Well, I knew that Burnout was out there somewhere. Turns out it was in Turtle Rock. It was actually accessible via the logic, I guess. Only required one key, I believe, to get Burna in Turtle Rock. So it was actually in the logic, but that wasn't really on my mind anyway. I knew I had a fairy in a bottle and I could sequence break it. So like even if I had died there, I had a fairy, so I would have been revived. But I don't know. That was just basically covering my bases, making sure that I hadn't left anything behind on Death Mountain, except for Turtle Rock, which I was just trying to be efficient, trying to see if I could get that last small key. What was the small key, by the way, on the island, on the floating island? Do you know?
It was the 6th pod key.
Okay.
Yeah, so a couple other runners picked it up. Obviously, you didn't have a need to with the hammer yump.
Yep.
So, at what point early on did you start to realize that this was going to be an AGA required seed?
I was caught up pretty early between two different courses of action. Since Death Mountain is one of those areas that you don't want to dip. You want to dip as few times as you possibly can. But I didn't really have that luxury since. I don't know. I went to Aga Tower quite early without the second key to see if I could get the Mire or something allowing me to access East Death Mountain, which is pretty common in Keysanity. I haven't played too much Keysanity, but I've learned that there's pretty often progression in Aga Tower, despite not having to fight Aghanim. So I went there instead of going to Death Mountain. Again, just trying to not dip that as often, not dip that more than I had to. As it turned out, Death Mountain was the play because Mire was in the Spectacle Rock. I think Mire was the last possible spot for me to check.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, so I grabbed that, and then and then of course the second Aga key was in Hera, and at that point it was pretty much 100% that Aga was required unless Moldorm had something.
Yeah, that's about how we saw this play out for everyone. We're also joined now by Mystakin, who's won his race. Congratulations and GG on that.
Thank you. So how about that Power Glove in Mid's location?
That was hilarious.
Oh my god.
So we saw you in pod early, and you skipped the hookshot chest. Was that a gamble, or did you just forget about it?
Because what are the odds, guys? What are the odds that the item I need to progress is in that one specific chest that I need, that if I use and it doesn't have anything, I can't complete the dungeon until I find another key?
Well, surely the odds are 50-50, right? Either there's something good there or there isn't.
Yeah, it was 50 this time. There was something good there.
Well, you weren't the only one that made the gamble. I believe Rywek and SirBeater both gambled the Dark Room, which had flippers, which were needed to progress.
Yeah, which thankfully I just bomb jump too. That's like saving that key is so valuable in these races.
That is the worst possible question you can ask yourself. What are the odds?
What are the odds?
In Randomizer, never ask yourself that question. The odds are 100% if you don't do it.
I mean,
then
what are the
actually-
odds that progression is going to be in that vanilla big key chest in Turtle Rock?
That's
what are
what
the
I was
odds
gonna
Turtle
say
Rock's
next.
going to have a Turtle Rock key?
What are the odds? Oh, so I was so glad when I was like, wait, I could just mirror to get back there. I don't know. It's risky, but thank God I did.
Meanwhile, Rywek has finished up Ganon. Will get his time as soon as he crosses that bridge. He's taken a few extra seconds to cross the bridge here. There he goes. Okay, Rywek finishes the official SRL time of 2 hours and 37 seconds.
My seed was off to a fantastic start as I sat around for 10 seconds reading Dragon Ball FighterZ Reddit, not realizing the race had started.
I mean, you know, it's a good game from what I've heard. I
It is.
just, you know, personally, I think there might be better times, but I don't want to tell you how to start your races.
Yeah, not my best moment, really, is me just standing around being like, oh god, it's already 10 seconds, I should probably get going.
We're seeing if we can get Rywek in here for an interview as well, but it looks like he went to for a bathroom break quick.
Oh yeah, and then near the end, I'm just like, all I want is a map, just so I can know what dungeon I'm supposed to do next. And then I'm in Swamp, and I get a map to Swamp, and I'm like, great, I'm already here. And then I get a map to Ganon's Tower, and I'm like, okay. This seat's just legit trolling me now.
Well, fortunately for you, everybody did full clear Swamp.
Which is, yeah, it was, as long as you skip those two far off chests, that doesn't take too much time, but...
Actually, that brings us back to another play of yours. You went into Swamp before you had Hammer.
Yes. That was total gamble. I was like, there could be Hammer in either of these chests. Or it could be just something that I need. Because I still needed a decent number of things at that point. So I was like, well, I have flippers, I have the Swamp Key. So there's a chance. Might as well check them both.
So it looks like SirBeater has left Turtle Rock and headed back to the Tower of Hera basement. Still trying to find that desert big key, although he knows now desert's a crystal. So he's going to be searching for a bit still. He has to head back into Turtle Rock to find that.
Oh my god, I'm so freaking glad I mirrored. Because I was like, that's exactly what I was afraid of happening. Because I knew if I finished without getting that, there's no way I was going to go back and get it until I checked everything else.
So, Mystakin, at this point, you are 2-0 in the tournament. Next week, you're going to be up against someone else on a 2-0 record, and we've seen some pretty good stuff from the other racers in this tournament. Any particular preparation you're going to do, or how are you feeling going into next week?
It's tough to say, because it's the seed before this. I forgot to get a chest in Eastern Palace and spent an hour looking for it, so you never know. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm enjoying the tournaments, and they're fun to do.
So, before the race, I actually checked up on your record, and it looks like you don't have much SRL experience. Have you joined recently, or have you been playing for a while?
I do a lot of just seeds on my own time, and also racing with like friends off of SRL. So that's primarily my experience with this stuff. I've used SRL on and off for a couple years now for like other games that I've speedrun, but not really for Randomizer. It's the first time I've used it for Rando.
Just a quick update. Unfortunately, SirBeater has decided to forfeit.
Yeah, given the race he had earlier, that I totally understand. You get a bit frustrated when you miss that hookshot spot over the river early, and at this point, with so much still to go, I don't blame him for stepping out of this race. We are going to bring Rywek in here to chat for a bit, though. And Rywek, GG on finishing that race, very close to the sub-2 mark.
Oh, yeah, definitely very close to the sub-2. Yes, I was aiming for that.
I mean, always a good target to go for anyways. Any particular thoughts on what you saw this evening? Anything that you liked or disliked about the seed?
About the seed itself? Nah, it was okay. I'm not sure if Swamp was required, except for the second chest in there. I don't know if the rest was required.
The only quote-unquote progression in Swamp that we saw was that shovel, and unless you consider a piece of heart to be progression, there was nothing else out of there.
Damn.
The pod big key was also in Swamp.
Yeah, that's what I thought. The second
that
chest
was
had the
needed.
pod big key.
Yeah, the second chest there. But beyond
Yeah.
that, nothing of value.
So my gamble did pay off, even though I went and did Swamp anyway.
Yeah, I mean, we had our eyes on you for a while, wondering, is Mystakin going to go back there? Is he going to kind of spend that time mucking around in Swamp, or does he get to just skip doing all of that full clear?
I came so close to skipping Swamp, but I was like, if I have to go to Turtle Rock and then come back to Swamp, I'm gonna be mad. But if I do Swamp and then it is the crystal, then I can just do Turtle Rock and run straight to Ganon.
And we now have our last runner, SirBeater, joining us here. How are you feeling?
Pretty tilt, I have to say.
Understandable at this point, I think.
Yeah, I got myself on tilt mode early there a little bit, and then I have numerous other excuses that I can use. The batteries in my mouse started to die, which is my own fault for using a mouse with batteries, and I started marking my tracker just being all tilt moded, and that worked out really well.
I'm sorry to hear that.
And we now have our last runner, SirBeater, joining us here. How are you feeling?
So where is the Desert Palace big key?
Bad news.
It's back in Turtle Rock, I'm sorry to say.
It's in the stupid chest.
It's in the stupid chest, as I think you're correct to refer to it that way. I've seen a bit too much stupid in that chest this week.
Yeah, that definitely seems to be the theme with Keysanity lately. As soon as it wasn't in Hera's basement, I figured it was probably there, but I just didn't want to believe it.
I'm sorry to hear that.
SirBeater, I think we're getting a bit of an echo from your mic.
Bad news.
It's back or Discord coming back through either way. It's in the stupid chest, as I think so I guess at this point to the group, just any final thoughts about things that happened tonight, things you hope to see in future rounds of this tournament, because we're only 2 weeks into the 5-week sprint, effectively.
I want to never.
I
want to never see a seed like that again. That's what I want to see.
Here's what I have to say. Don't flood the key. Don't flood the key. Don't flood the key.
Did you flood the key, or? Yeah, so I guess at this point...
I flooded the key.
Just any final...
But I chant that to myself every time I'm in that room to not flood the key.
Same.
Honestly, Rywek, with 4 racers all going through dungeons, we actually missed that. And if you hadn't mentioned that, we wouldn't have been able to call you out on it. But it's a good mantra, regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Just say to yourself going into that room, don't flood the key, you idiot.
Flood the key. Yeah, I usually do tell myself, don't flood the key nonstop. And then like, oh, wait, what if I find this? I'm looking at my tracker and then I flood the key.
And I'm like, oh, look, what's that? ADHD
Yeah.
kicks in, and you let NMG muscle memory take over, and it's just like, yeah, let's flood this key.
Mm-hmm.
Gentlemen, if you'll permit me to direct your attention towards the final screens for everyone. Rywek, your collection rate is 163. TGH, your collection rate is 163. Mystakin, your collection
Oh my
rate is
God.
163. That's incredible coordination that I don't think you could pull off if you tried.
I feel like you guys all planned that.
It's basically 3 full clears right there.
Yeah, I really appreciate seeing that synchronization.
Plando.
All right. Well,
It makes sense, though. Makes sense given where the probable go mode item was for everyone. I would say.
yeah, it really does. And overworld-wise, I think everyone checked pretty much the same stuff.
Did everyone else skip shovel game?
No.
Because
No.
I did.
Oh, the shovel game. Yeah, no, I checked that.
So there's at least some variance.
Well, it depends on if you actually picked up that hard piece that it dropped or not. If you didn't, then it doesn't count it in the collection rate.
Oh yeah, true.
That's true, and I know at least one of you skipped the big 20 that came out of the digging game, south of Outcasts. But hey, I'll take that sync.
Yay.
All right. If there's nothing else from these runners, I think we'll wrap it up here for the night. Unfortunately, no more races starting tonight. Right now on Speed Gaming 1, just started about an hour and a half ago. There's another race going on between Giselle Shaft and Haha Cell on top, and Final Flame and P-Hat Home on the bottom. And if you don't want to watch that, then the next Keysanity isn't until 1 p.m. tomorrow, and only 2 races tomorrow because, of course, Sunday's the last day of our week here before we make those brackets up for Monday. I've been Philion. I've been joined by the wonderful Brewers fan JP. And JP, I'm going to give you the final word tonight. I
just want to thank all of our runners for giving us a great show tonight. I want to thank our trackers, Dark Falls 1983 and Epic Ranger, our restreamer Feasel, and of course, my co-commentator Philion. So yeah, thanks for watching everyone tonight. We hope you tune in again soon. And we look forward to a great round 3 starting up next week. And until
Good night,
then,
everyone.
take care.
Thank you, guys.